But you cannot come and say that you misled me, because he didn't. Okay? In the other sense, which I would like to introduce the DKM situation, one, government told MenzGold, let me just finish. Right. Number two, if government says this business is not regulated by us, MenzGold has certification from Mineral Commission, okay, to buy and sell gold, not to trade as they were doing, as to promise returns. And the regulators within whose area they are operating says, you are not certified to do that business. On account of that, we as a people don't recognize that that business is legal. And so when all of that warning is issued, and things went bad after that warning is issued, and you come back and tag government, we in the media, all of us, must begin to see it. Otherwise, we will be dishonest people. Okay. So here, I want to say very clearly that regardless of the consistent effort, okay, to tag this MenzGold onto government, makes the people who are doing it sound incoherent and unreasonable, and not reasonable.
But Richard,
number two.
No, Richard, how do you then react to concerns that state agencies could have been proactive because they had enough red flags to have acted? For instance, we know that somewhere July last year, the Securities and Exchange Commission wrote to Yoko indicating that they have leads pointing to some illegalities in the activities of MenzGold. When they had that information, couldn't the states and its agencies have taken very strong decision in tackling this whole matter instead of just looking on for people to actually invest in the company?
You have to have sufficient basis to make that, to make that definitive, take that definitive action. And you realize also, when before that, consistently the SEC has been engaging MenzGold, and anytime they did, MenzGold would say they don't fall within their jurisdiction. That back and forth with the Bank of Ghana as well. Okay, so you need to be careful. Like the fact that you regulate a particular industry doesn't mean you do that at will. Okay, you must comply. There's a set out rule that you must conform to. So having consistently engaged them, okay, the point here I want us to highlight is that the state organization or institutions have engaged to make sure that MenzGold do not continue with that operation. Okay, and to boost, they have issued instruction that yes, don't do business with them. Because look, in all of these things, okay, government has interest, and the interest of government is the Ghanaian people, because those are the people we represent as a government and we work for. So that we want to protect them at all costs. And so we have told our people, like I used the illustration for you, your father has an interest in your welfare, so please, Ridwan, don't do this. Okay? And if you defy your father, you have the free will to do so, but the outcome you must inherit. Okay? So that's the problem here. So when you have a group of people knowing the fact, but in the political space, try to color what is false to look the truth, it makes me cringe for the future of this country to have a group of people like that with potential to lead this country behave in that manner. Tells me, where are we going with these people? So I am saying, and speaking directly to Ghanaians and the customers of MenzGold, to say that you understand what business venture you took, agreement you took with MenzGold. You understood that the prospect, I think we're promising 120% or so. When the prospects were good, you had them. So you must be equally responsible if the outcome is bad. Don't blame government for that, because government had told you and you took the risk nonetheless.
So essentially what he's saying is that the customer should have also done some sort of due diligence before investing.
I agree with you. I think I said it earlier on that the blame cannot be put only at the doorstep of the customers, but government should be responsible enough
but he thinks that your allegation of government shielding Nam1 is unfounded.
Let me use his own example to again expose him. Let's say that your father is telling you that, look, do not go here or do not deal with this person. Right? In this, I'm referring to as far back as 2016, April, when the first warning was issued out. And then also when they came to power, they also did say. Yet still, your father himself is seen whining and dining with that person. What message does it tell you? Is your father not the one who is very incoherent? Because warnings have been served by the government. Yet we have a sitting president who could be that, who has taken for granted that warning, and to even say, oh, I'm inviting him over because another mischievous person in the person of Nyantechi is bringing him over. So bring him to the Flagstaff House, let him come and wine and dine because he's coming to sponsor this. Mind you, in what capacity is he sponsoring the program that you were endorsing him for? Is it not because he's a CEO of MenzGold? And do not also forget that while we were trying to regulate and track him down, he immediately again changed his company name from Men's Bank with a C to MenzGold. So in the midst of all these things, you are just serving warning. You are not being exact that it is a wrong thing. You're only serving warning.
Wasn't he just grappling with identity crisis?
No, he knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing. And that's why I'm saying that the state agencies also will take a full share of the blame. To again then, however, run quickly to want to bring in DKM is most unfortunate. Who in this case actually ever told the customers that DKM has been okayed and you should go for it? You had your voice all out there under the circumstance. Suddenly you want to change the narrative and make it look like, oh, the NDC is evil. Since when did you become more citizen than others? We in the NDC will not endorse any form of charlatan activity in order to shield or to pursue an agenda for parochial interest. We only feel that what was done was wrong. And government should be able to take responsibility. In the first place, why is the president in particular? Why is the vice president? Why are they failing to comment on these ones?
Why should they?
Why shouldn't they not? That is the question. Why shouldn't they not?
Why should they?
Because
Maybe you have to tell me.
There have been many instances that are related to similar instances, and such as the Midland Savings and Loan incidents.
I told you
a typical example.
The circumstances are different.
No, that is why I was also, even the DKM, they spoke about it very well. Yeah. They had their voice
but the circumstances around DKM are different from what is happening.
Unless you want to say that, then we should all be in quiet and expect that what will happen should happen. Because these are citizens who are being affected. And for anyone to think that government doesn't need to make a statement on this will be most unfortunate. We need to know what exact steps you are taking. Because as we speak, like I told you, if this warrant is a civil warrant, what are the implications? Is it a criminal warrant? You get my point. Because if it is criminal, then when we eventually find him, what is happening? But it looks like it is even civil. But you and I know that no action has been instituted against him in the past.
But the charges that have been stated are serious offense.
Which charges?
Defrauding by false pretense.
It is yet to even be proved. That is just a warrant.
So where are we going?
No, you see, that is why I'm telling you that we need to even find out for ourselves whether this warrant is a civil warrant or it's a criminal warrant. Because in the first case, there has not been any action instituted against the gentleman in question. Now, if we are doing this, we ought to have clarity on what exact steps are being taken. And what steps did government take in the past that we did not know? You and I do not know. At a point in time, we were told that his passport was seized. How did he then travel again out of the country? Because his PRO came out clearly to say he traveled out legitimately through the due process. So what exactly is going on? There's some disconnect there. But you see, the government is rather trying to make it look like, oh, in everything the opposition is trying to just tag them as, they must be responsible. And therefore, we are only trying to be a voice for the voiceless customers who have been affected by the situation that they found themselves in. That it shouldn't happen. It has happened. But you cannot push the entire blame on at their doorsteps. Government would have to take responsibility as well, because your interest is to protect them. And in protecting them, you cannot tell me that merely just warning them is enough. Merely warning them is not enough. There are other steps that you should have taken to actually protect them. You see, so if you are saying that, oh, you have been warned, your father warned you, but your same father who warned you.
What other steps could have been taken?
One, you would agree with me that the timing when this whole thing was announced was actually not the right timing. This is just because it looked as though government rather was the one who caused people to start panic withdrawals. And MenzGold, legal or illegal, was at the time in question operating well and had no challenges with the client. And we didn't know that. At least you and I don't know that for a fact. And that is why, since you have taken the steps now, we expect that you brief us on what next you want to do. Right. What is your reason for what steps you want to take? But as it stands, it says you have just taken an action to collapse the business, and that is all. The customers go and fight the rest on your own. It doesn't work like that.
Before I move to the next set of questions, I will give you just a few seconds to respond.
Yeah, Ridwan, See why I describe the NDC talking point on this MenzGold as an assembly of words. Because whichever way you look at it, they're just going to be saying something. So when you ask them, there's no direct answer to the question. They just shift to another one, the rate and those things, the legal, whatever. I have no idea. You understand? Now, the truth of the matter is this. Very clear and factual. Mr. Nana Appiah-Mensah went to meet with the president in the company of GFA officials. I think CAF officials were part of it. When he had made arrangement with GFA to sponsor the premiership or the premiership or the Ghana League, you understand? President visited the presidency, this man visited the presidency in a company of people he's doing business with. Okay? Legitimate sponsorship, which we had no concern with. Okay. We had no dealings in. So we brought, oh, this is the man sponsoring our league for us. Took picture with the president. I have no idea how that became endorsement. Total confusion about the matter.
Is questionable.
So what I am saying is that these guys are doing a great disservice to this country.
Okay.
So that if somebody who stakes lotto, okay, having lost money over the years, even this lottery thing is legal, right? Can show up tomorrow and say, we have lost money over the period of time, so therefore, Mr. President, do something for us. Another group of people gone to casino, wasted their money, have sympathy for us. We are also citizens. Okay, so please refund our money. Where is the end of this?
Okay.
Are we ever going to see the end of this? But I'm saying that the time has come for us, those of us in the political space must become responsible. Okay? The fact that you can take or gain political advantage out of some issue that has happened genuinely to Ghanaians. They have lost money and they are emotional. You don't sit here and try to make it a political issue so you can benefit.
Okay.
The facts are the facts. The government of Ghana duly issued and told Ghanaians, don't do business there. People are told, don't do stowaway. Don't skip around and go to other foreign countries by skipping and doing other things that going through the wrong places. Don't travel through the desert to go to other countries. If you do that, what you are met with is consequences that you were prepared for. So the advice is legitimately the only thing the government can do under the circumstance to say, please, my people, don't do this. And the government has done that.
Okay.
The government knew what the people, the MenzGold was doing was not right and had informed you. So if you chose to do that, it's your responsibility. And we sympathize. Government is going to try and do all the things. And this warrant to arrest the man is one of those things to ensure that some measure of closure is brought to the issue. But don't make this a government issue. If you do that, you sound not serious, desperate, and not patriotic.
All right, so just in case you just tune in, this is the breakfast review on GH Today on GH1 television, and we are discussing the MenzGold scandal. At least we know that a warrant has been issued for the arrest of Nana Appiah-Mensah. We also know that an Interpol, which has presence in over 190 countries, has been alerted to help in tracking Nana Appiah-Mensah. So that takes me to my next question, and I go to Elikam. What do you envisage? I mean, should he be found in any of these countries? How will the extradition work?
Thank you. I do not know. I haven't seen yet even the Interpol alert. I do not know if it's who alerted us or if it's just a
the warrant.
But yeah. But then you see, it is almost just looking like Kwesi Nyantakyi's issue, where government immediately tries to step in to make it look as though we are putting in an effort to bring closure to a matter, and then suddenly another scandal comes, another issue pops up, and then gradually people begin to forget about it. The media also has an attention on some other
Elikam, are
issue.
you responding to my
Yes,
question?
I'm responding to it.
Okay.
So what I am envisaging, because already as you've asked, we cannot even tell if he'll be found or not. So you're only trying me to be hypothetical, that if he is found, what happens? What about if he's not found? And even if he's found, do I have that surety or that belief that he'll be found in the first place, and what will be done with him? It is one of the reasons why we ought to hear from government why it is taking the steps it's taking, or what steps it intends to take. You see, this will even give assurances to the customers that, oh, even though we take even if we say we take 90% of the blame, at least government is showing signs that we also take blame. And
but already some of the customers feel that the move to even arrest him is reassuring.
Yes, that is reassuring. That it will definitely, every move will be reassuring. It is also the reason why government ought to do more. So fine, the move to arrest him is good. Now we are all looking forward that within the shortest possible time, this arrest will be done, and the international community would offer us the needed help in order to bring this gentleman back to book and let us put him right, to make sure that a proper closure is brought to this issue, and then let's see how best we can resolve it so it is not repeated again in the foreseeable future.
Okay, Richard.
Well, I pray that Nana Mensah is arrested wherever he is. I even hope that he himself would do the decent thing of
turning himself
in, because it's good for him. It would tell that he thinks he's doing the right thing, and maybe we are confusing him to be doing the illegal thing. So the right thing would be to show up and defend himself. I don't presume, and all of us, by our legal understanding, maxim, that you're not guilty until proven, you're innocent until proven guilty. So I would accord him that in the frame of things. So I think that wherever he is, he may have heard about this already. His spokesperson is aware, so maybe we'll transmit this to him in many different ways to let him be man enough to show up. If you are bold enough to mess up things, be bold enough to come fix it. So if he feels he hasn't done anything wrong, he should come and defend himself, and I pray that he will. And but short of that, I am also hoping that the Interpol support would help us bring him in, so that he would face the customers he's dealt with. I don't want to say defrauded, but people whose money he's taken. And I think it will be good for us all to understand really what this matter is all about, at least for him to also answer to the people who are hurting at this point. I understand my brother was saying somebody was on the verge of committing suicide, and these people have worked hard for their money, even though they didn't listen to government advice, don't do it. Nonetheless, if he can produce their money, he's the one who took it, so he should come in and return people's money to him.
Some have also suggested that the best case scenario will be confiscating his assets and that of the other members of the top management, right, to be able to defray the cost. But also the challenge is whether how much is owed the customers has been established, yes, and also how much his assets is worth. Yes. We've also not been able to establish whether indeed he has assets in other countries. Yes. How would that pan out, really?
Yeah, you know, Ridwan, I have every confidence that the posture of this, the MenzGold customers, if properly situated, would lead them to get a lot more done. I suppose right now the confrontational one, trying to blame government, is not going to get them anything, because your father told you you didn't obey. You have to either come with remorse. You don't come pumping your chest that, oh, help me out. But if the situation normalizes, I foresee Bank of Ghana being in a position to be able to help track the movement of money. I know this money, he didn't pack them in a suitcase someplace, but probably it's in the banking system. Bank of Ghana can help them track wherever his money is, either here or any other parts in the world. At least they can show the path out of this country. Maybe even they cannot locate where it's at in any other country or in what account, but they can help track his money. And let me do the property part. But I think from what I've been hearing, I've been talking to people, some people who are customers vested in this issue, say that the man doesn't have any assets that he know about. Most of the buildings and the other things that we see with his other businesses were all rented. So that's going to be a challenge. But I think that somehow, if we're looking, there's something could be found. But I think government can help. But then before that, I think the customers need to position themselves.
There's also the issue that most of the offshore businesses are not even in his name.
Exactly.
You know?
So then how do you track that?
Exactly.
So that's, and if that becomes the case, then the man knew what he was doing. So he had prepared himself for this situation to happen.
Let me give the final word to Elikem.
Yeah, like you rightly said, these are some of the steps that we expected to have been taken earlier or before long ago, but not.
But they needed to establish a strong case.
Yeah, you see, I mean, are we saying government has still not established any case? Are we saying so? If government has still not established any case, okay, fine. Then tell us you haven't established any case. That is what I mean by communication. Let us know what steps you are taking, what you know that we do not know. I again repeat here that we were told that the BNI arrested the gentleman, seized his passport. But as we speak, we were told by the PRO, he traveled out of the country legitimately. So there's some disconnect somewhere. Either there's some deliberate cover-up going on somewhere. So that is why we're saying that, for instance, if you ought to confiscate his assets and all that, it ought to have been done way before long ago. His account can be frozen. I mean, people have not been found guilty of any crime yet. Their accounts have been frozen immediately upon suspicion. So why haven't that been done before long ago in order to ensure that the customers are protected? It then again lays credence to what some 3 of the staffs were saying on the 15th of December last year, that some other 13-member management staff are going behind the counter selling properties.
I think you have belabored that point.
No, I have not belabored it. I have not belabored it because these are staff of the company that are saying that this is what is ongoing. And they gave out the names of the people that they are doing this or that. I have personally even had calls from some of the distressed people because of my social media activity that I heard that people are being paid behind closed doors for some commission or something. They are doing this and all that. You see, if you don't communicate to us, there will be a lot of speculations and people will buy into every form of communication because people will be propounding their own theories on what they suspect is happening, what government is doing behind closed doors and all that. So why was his account not even frozen long ago? All these things should have been done long ago. And up to now, I do not even know if it has been done. And if it has not been done, it must be done to safeguard the interests of the customers.
Okay. All right.
Redwan, maybe one quick second. You know, I feel very sad for the situation my brother keeps pushing. He's talking about communication. I sat here and I gave him all the communication he needs, but he won't take it. So I don't know what communication he wants. It is the communication that he wants to suggest that, oh, it's government to blame. That's the kind of communication he wants. Okay. The facts are clear. This MenzGold saga.
Gentlemen, I'm afraid. I'm afraid we have to leave our conversation here. Let me take a few comments on. Let me take a few comments on social media, and this one from Eja Musule says, what was the NDC man saying? Are they not the same people who say the government is not doing anything about the MenzGold issue? Now, the government has caused the, okay, you're talking about the issuance of the warrant. And this one from Frederick Bai says, go and read the tweet of Nanado about Nana Pia when they were looking for investor for the Ghana Premier League. And this one from Abdul Rauf Muhammad, he says, so, meaning president can't meet with prisoners in prison, the NDC man can do more. And this one from, okay, this one from, let me take this one. Okay. Some of you, I have issues with the comments, so I won't put them on air. This one from Patrick Senyo. It says, tell me Ghana's government has no idea his whereabouts and the reason the government is unable to pay the investors with the assets. And finally, let me take this one. Okay. Simba thinks that I'm defending the government. Well, I'm not defending the government. My job here is to whip both of them veering off. But I'll wait for the review. The show continues.